Okay, a lot of you guys are asking for recipes or tutorials or classes or whatever in all of the stuff I made in these Christmas baskets. So I think I'm going to start this series, and I think I want to call it Hillbilly Know How. But the name is subject to change. Okay, so this is the first episode, and I'm going to teach you guys how to water bath can. Because a lot of the things I'm going to show you how to make, you need to know how to water bath can to do them. And so we're going to start at the baseline. But before we get in the kitchen, we have some ground rules. Okay, for the first rule, don't get silly in my comment section and ask me how big this pot is. The answer is I do not know, okay? I went on Facebook Marketplace and I looked up big pot, and I picked one that looked like the one my mom has. So that's what I know. Just get one that looks like this, okay? The second rule is we are not rebel canners here, okay? Rebel canners, you guys do it however you want. More power to you. I'm not arguing with you, but I will not promote that on my page. And for those of you who aren't in the canning space and you're new to all of this, you might not know, is that there are rules listed by the FDA or the National Center of Health and Food Preservation or something, or Home Food something like that. Okay. And they have very strict guidelines as to what you can or cannot can. And rebel canners will say, oh, well, they say I can't do this, but my grandma's been doing it for 700 years or whatever. I've done it my whole life. No one's ever gotten sick, and that might be the case, but it only takes once. Botulism is invisible, it is tasteless, and it is deadly, okay? And we're not messing around with that. We will not be canning low acid foods like meat or cooked potatoes or soup or beans. You know, we will be canning things that I deem are safe. That being said, let's learn how to can. Okay, we are in the kitchen. I don't know how to fix the lighting. Don't ask me. I don't know. You need a few things. First of all, you're gonna need your big old pot. Here it is compared to my head, so get this size. Oh, and this is how big it is, like, on the bottom. So you need a big old pot. You're gonna need one of these. You can get this off Facebook Marketplace. You can get it off Amazon, at Walmart. You can get it off the Jar website. Like, you can get these 100 different places. These, grab the tops of your jars like this so that you don't burn yourself when you're pulling them out of the boiling water. Then you're going to need jars. I use the ball jars that I get them at Walmart. They're in the canning aisle. You can get them anywhere. I love them. It comes in 3 parts. You have to have a jar that has all 3 of these parts. You can't have a jar that just has, like, this is a solid piece, not a ring. That will not work. You have to have these. So what you're going to do, you're going to get all your food prep ready, whatever you're about to put in the jars, and you're going to, first of all, some people reuse jars, some people don't. I do. So if you're reusing a jar, or even if you just got a jar from the store, you need to make sure it's sterilized, okay? Don't just grab whatever from wherever and start putting stuff in it. Everything needs to be sterilized because we're keeping food for so long, any amount of bacteria could grow. So everything has to be sterile. Get your sterile jars. Now take these lids and you're going to boil them while you're getting your food ready and while you're putting it in your jars. That will make this little rubber part softer and will make sure that this is 100% sterile, because this has to be sterile and it's helpful when these little parts are soft. Okay, so you made your food, you filled your jars, you boiled your lids. Now you're going to take a cloth and a little bit of white vinegar. Just get your little finger wet in it. Don't use your bare finger. That's nasty. Okay? Use a clean cloth or a paper towel. Then you're going to rub the rim. Okay? You're going to rub all on the outside and all on the inside, but really make sure you get on this top rim. First of all, no one wants a jar that's all nasty under the ring. That's gross. Clean it off before you put the lid on it. But also, this top ring has to be not a speck on it. No texture at all. The same with this rubber ring. Because if there is a little bump of anything, it is going to break the seal and your food will spoil. It needs to be completely texture free and completely clean. And then the little vinegar on the inside will keep whatever you have in here from getting cloudy and gross. So you need to leave about 1/4 of an inch of headspace, which means, like, don't fill it to here, fill it to like here, okay? Some foods need more headspace, some foods need less headspace, so make sure you look it up before you're gonna can whatever you're gonna can. Okay, So now you filled up your jar, you left the right amount of headspace, you boiled the lids, you rubbed the vinegar. Now you're gonna take your lid and put it like this. Some people have like a little magnety tool they can pick up the lids and move it over because they're hot. I don't do that. Just be careful with your fingers, okay? Just don't burn yourself. Now you're gonna take your rings and you're gonna tighten them what we call finger tight, which means 1, 2. So don't crank on it. Don't use your arm muscles. Tighten it with just your fingers. It can't be so loose that the hard boiling water kind of knocks this off, but it can't be so tight that the water can't get in here and seal it, you know? So then you need to get ready to boil. You need to have room temperature to lukewarm water. Do not drop these glass jars into boiling water. They will explode, okay? And you need to put something on the bottom. A lot of people just can straight on the jar. My mom cans that way, but it can be really dangerous, especially if you're not like a super experienced canner. Hot boiling water can get under this little curved part and can explode, or your glass can explode because it's sitting right on the eye of the stove. So you need to be very careful and put something underneath. What you'll see a lot of people have is a special kind of rack. It hangs on the sides of their pot, and then you can lift it up like this, and then you arrange all your cans in it, and then you lower it back down. And that does a couple things. It keeps all your cans or your jars real nice and tight so they're not wiggling everywhere. It keeps them off the bottom, and it keeps you from burning your hands. But I don't have that, so we're gonna do it my way. I have this little container of old jar rings. They don't get used for anything else. I say, them are my boiling lids, okay? I take them and I lay them flat on the bottom so that the cans can sit on top. I'll show you. Okay, as you can see, I have all my lids right there at the bottom, and then I would set my jars not on top of it like this, because you don't want the water to get trapped under there, but like this. Okay, so I'm editing and I realized I forgot to tell you that you have to fill the pot with jars. So if your pot can handle 12 jars on the bottom, but you made a jam or a whatever that only filled 6 jars, you need to boil 12 jars. Because if you don't, that water is going to shake them until they fall over, and then they're going to spill, and it's just going to be just terrible. So you can fill that extra space with empty jars. Don't put a lid on it. Don't seal it. Just fill it with water so that it sinks and stays below the water. That way all the jars are bumped up against each other like buddies so they can't fall over. Okay, and then you need to bring your pot to a rolling boil, like a hard boil. So that's going to take a long time. This is a big pot. This is not like boiling water for your mac and cheese. This is a big pot. It's going to take a long time. It is a lot more helpful if you have a lid. This traps the heat and the moisture inside, and it will boil your water faster. But you don't have to have one. The first time I ever did this, I didn't know you had to have the lid on it, so I boiled it without the lid, and it took 2.5 hours. So it's possible, but it's pretty darn miserable. So put your lid on it, start boiling. Do not start a timer. This whole part does not matter. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Do not start a timer. When you notice that your water is like boiling as hard as it can get, then you start your timer, and you're gonna boil for like 10 to 15 minutes. I do 15 minutes just to be safe. Then you're going to remove it from the heat and don't touch it. That water is still boiling hot even if the bubbles aren't there. Let it cool enough that you're not going to die if you get these jars out. So now it's time to get the jars out. Take your lid. Oh, I forgot to say that you need this much water above your cans. When you fill it with water, you need if this is where the top of your jars are, about this much water. So that's where this comes in. This can get down in that hot water where you're not hurting yourself. So I go two-handed like this, and I wrap it around my jar, and then I pull it up just like this. And you're gonna set it on the counter and let it cool in the cool air for a little bit. You're gonna need to do something to it in just a second, so don't let it cool forever, but you please do not burn yourself, okay? So when you think it's cool enough to start touching, I usually have 2 tea towels. I have one that I hold the jar with and one in my hand. You can wear gloves or use the corner of your apron or whatever. You're gonna just remove this lid. If you leave this on, the water that is trapped under here from the boiling we just did is going to mildew. Or if your can looks like it's properly sealed but has a little bit of this going on, you won't be able to see that under this lid. So take this off. And then you're going to flip this upside down. Oh, sorry, this one isn't sealed. You're gonna flip this upside down like this and keep it overnight. Don't touch it. If you touch it too soon or start messing with it or inspecting it, you could break the seal and then you'll have to start over. Leave it like this, let it cool overnight. Okay, so it's the next day. You ready to mess with your jars? Inspect it, make sure you don't see any gaps, and then play with this. If your jars are not sealed. Or even if you can just go like, if you can do that once, it is not sealed. When you pulled your jars out of the water, you might have noticed you heard that sound. That was the jars suctioning and sealing. It will be like this when it is sealed. If it does the little bubble thing, you have to start completely over. Take it off, wipe it down, start it over. But say everything worked and it's all ready. Well, then you're ready. Store it like this. Don't store it like this because any moisture or bacteria could grow underneath this ring and you wouldn't see if it's able to pop. You can keep it stored in a dark, cool place like a pantry. Like, don't put it in your windowsills. They usually say 12 to 18 months is safe, but you know, look it up by recipe. It can go certainly a lot longer than that, but the second the seal is broken, it needs to be refrigerated, okay? Make sure you're doing high acid foods, not low acid foods. You can find that information anywhere on the internet, and just make sure you're being safe and being careful.